Hey, Dan Land Pro here. So we told you we was gonna bring you AI generative fill versus uh, generative expand in Photoshop. It's real simple to understand. In one case, you got a blank canvas. In another case, you're actually just expanding what you already have. Hey, let's get started. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop. So as you know, we're gonna get our regular web large size. We can go here or we can go up here, right here, and we just get web large. It's the same thing. And you make sure your parameters is okay over here as far as your 1920 by 1080. You want landscape, not portrait. You want 72 DPI. We in pixels, inches. So we want to make sure that's color, RGB color. And you can have a white or a background transparent, et cetera, whatever it is that you want. I like to start with white as far as generative fill, but usually I want transparent, but you can set that parameter here. You could always come back and change it. But anyway, hit create, and now we have our canvas. So let's move this here out the way because we don't really need that. So let's put it over here in our taskbar. Now, if you want to change where this contextual box is, you can just hit on here, and if I pin it to this position or I want to move it around, I can move it around, but I like mine right here under the screen. And as you see, I can pin it to this position. I can move it up top wherever you want to move it and pin it wherever you want it. If you don't see that generative fill taskbar, you can always come here in Windows, and you can come all the way down and you see a contextual taskbar. That's what that is. So if I cut it off, you don't see it. And now we go back to Windows, come down to that contextual taskbar, cut it back on, and you see it's pinned right under the screen where I particularly like it. Now, here's the thing with generative fill. We're not doing generative expand, we're doing generative fill. Generative fill, you just go up here, get your selection tool, bam. I'm gonna select this whole canvas with my selection tool, and then I'm gonna tell generative fill, I just want a oil painting. Okay, generate. Now you see generative fill doing this thing. Okay, so now we have our three selections of oil paintings. Either one will do. So we're just gonna stick with this one right here. So now I'm gonna move this out the way or move it over there, and then we're gonna bring this where you can actually see it. So now, what I like to do to make this example stronger is I'm just gonna flatten this image. I'm gonna flatten that image. And now I just got a regular image. So we're not gonna do any more generate with that. We just wanted an image that we could work with. The thing about generative expand is that I can hit this crop tool, go up here, and right here, where it say generative expand, you'll see you got some choices. Background default, generative expand, and content aware. Content is aware is something we used to use before we could have this dynamic removal tool and things like that. That's a whole nother tutorial. But now that I have generative expand, what I'm gonna do with generative expand is, you notice I hit the crop tool. That's where I got these parameters at the top. Once I expand this, I'm just gonna move this in the center. And I'm not gonna give it any commands. I'm not gonna say make me an oil painting or anything like that. I'm just gonna say generate. And what happens is it's just gonna generate, and it's gonna expand that photo based on AI's intelligence. And now you see, it expanded the actual photo. So let's get a little bit, zoom in on there. It actually expanded the photo. So I can do it again if I wanted to, or I can go up here to ratio, and I can change this ratio to instead of a 16:9, which is landscape, I'm gonna go vertical. So I can change this to vertical, and I can do the same thing I did with landscape. So I'm gonna move this down, and then I'm just gonna hit generate. And now you see it filled in, it expanded the photo. So that's how you see me make those large offices and different things like that. So you see the difference in making something from scratch is pretty much generative fill. and then making something or expanding on something you already created is generative expand. So we just showed you how to do both. Okay, so that's pretty much it. As you've seen, generative fill works the same way. Generative fill is pretty much AI way of filling something. So whether it's creating an object, a scene, an icon, or some of the other parameters that it offer, generative fill is just a way for AI to listen to your command through text, your text command through the text prompt, and try to carry out that instruction. So whether it's a blank canvas and you want to fill that canvas, or whether it's some of the things that we name and you want to expand on that. That's the difference in generative fill and generative expand.